Well, as always, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Nora, and it will be my honor to guide your practice this morning. Our yoga practice is like life. It's always evolving. However, it can be very monotonous too. Despite the fact that repetition is a very important part of our practice, there are times when we fall into a routine and feel bored or uninspired. So when we hit one of those, either on our mat or in our personal life, well, it's time to spice things up. Today's class might not feel completely different, but by introducing small changes into our practice, we'll make it more fun and interesting so we can transfer those same principles into another area of our life in which we need to ignite our passion. In order to take care of that task, the first hand gesture that we will incorporate is the Ushas, or the New Beginnings Mudra. To practice it, just interlace your hands behind your head, rest your head on your mudra, and just open your elbows wide. This mudra improves mental alertness and increases our creativity. To start our practice, I invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable for you. Bring your attention inwards, towards your heart, and feel free to sway from side to side. Sometimes we think that we need to be, still to quiet our thoughts. But as our yoga practice has taught us, combining breath with movement can help us to calm the waters of our mind. So with each deep inhale, draw love, patience, and acceptance, and everything else that you need to welcome change into your life. And with each exhalation, release any tension, any worries, or anything that doesn't serve you. Let's take this opportunity to set up our intention for our practice, or sankalpa. An intention could be to focus on a mantra or on a feeling that you want to cultivate. Whatever arises, just trust that it might be exactly what you need to keep you present in case your mind starts to wander. If nothing comes up, you could focus on this mantra. I embrace new beginnings. As always, I invite you to practice with an open mind and an open heart. And to remember that sometimes it only takes a small change or a new approach to the poses to refresh our practice or an aspect in our life so that we can continue growing. Let's take one round of collective breath to seal our intention. As you inhale, raise your arms overhead, palms together, and bring your intention from your mind into your heart as you sigh out your exhale. Gently open your eyes and release your hands down to your side. For our first pose, come into a tabletop position for cat and cow, or Vitalasana. Make sure that your hands are right underneath your shoulders and that your knees are hip width apart. If you want to try something different in this pose, why don't you try just opening your hearts out to face the edges of your mat. Another option will be to point your fingers towards your knees. But remember, this is not about forcing anything. It's just about exploring. So as you inhale, move into cow pose. Drop your belly towards the mat and lift your gaze to the sky. Exhale and round your back. And look at your navel for cat's pose. And let's flow with our breath. Inhale for cow. Exhale, cat's pose. One more time. Inhale, cow's pose. Exhale, cat. If you decided to turn your hands, you can leave your hands like that or just bring your hands to neutral. And now begin to circle your hips a few times to the right and a few times to the left. This will not only help us to release stagnant energy, but also to loosen our grip on life and allow it to flow more freely. And while you do this, feel free to incorporate any other movement that your body may be craving. Next inhale, come back to neutral. And as you inhale, extend your right leg long, place the ball mount of your foot on the mat. And as you exhale, begin to rock back and forth to stretch your calf. On your next inhale, lift your leg and now place the ball mount off your foot, crossing your left leg and place it on the outside of your mat. And if you want to deepen the stretch, just look over your left shoulder. Bring your right knee back to the mat so we can repeat the same stretch on the opposite leg. As you inhale, extend your left leg long. And as you exhale, begin to rock back and forth to stretch your calf. On your next inhale, lift your leg and cross your leg across your right leg, placing the ball mount of your left foot on the outside of your mat. And again, feel free to look over your right shoulder if you want to intensify this pose. Return your knee back to the mat. So we can move into downward facing dog or Adho Mukha Svanasana. So walk your hands a few inches forward and spread your fingers wide. As you inhale, tuck your toes under, and as you exhale, send your hips towards the sky. This is the first downward dog of your practice, so feel free to bend your knees, pedal your feet, or welcome any other movement that will allow you to settle into this pose. Just remember, your heels do not need to touch the ground. Once you find stillness, bring your attention to a focal point or drishti, either at the back of your mat or the wall. And let's begin to cultivate Ujjayi Pranayama, or victorious breath, by sending our breath towards the back of our throat, creating a gentle and soothing sound, like the sound of ocean waves. And allow your breath to move you and guide you in this practice. Remember, this practice is your own. I'm just here to give you suggestions. So tune into your breath, which is how your body communicates with you. And feel free to come into a child's pose as many times as you need to center yourself. Next, we will be moving into ragdoll, but this time, start walking your hands towards the back of your mat to meet your feet. Your feet are hip width apart. Fall forward from your hips. Knees can be bent or straight. And feel free to sway from side to side. You can dangle your arms or grab opposite biceps. You can shake your head no to being stuck in the routine and yes to the possibilities of this practice. Eventually, find the stillness in this pose. Since we're looking at life upside down, this pose offers us the possibility to see things differently and to remind us that breaking out of the daily routine can be a powerful way to unlock great new ideas, both in our mat and in our personal life. Release your hands and start bringing your feet closer together. And as you inhale, roll up slowly into standing and lift your arms overhead for mountain pose or Tadasana. Hands are facing each other. Make sure that you root into your feet and relax your shoulders away from your ears. Feel free to introduce some movement. And as you try something new, begin to feel grounded, balanced, and confident. As you exhale, move into forward fold Uttanasana. Fingertips can be touching the ground. Head and neck are relaxed. As you inhale, move into halfway left or Urdhva Mukha Uttanasana. Fingertips can be touching the floor or your shins. Your back is flat. Remember, the goal of this pose is to lengthen your spine, so bend your knees as much as needed. Relax your head and neck and just gaze at your toes. We will be moving into a couple rounds of half sun salutations to warm up our spine, straighten our calves, and just release any stagnant energy. So as you exhale, move into forward fold. Inhale and rise into mountain pose. Lift into your tippy toes. And as you exhale, lower your heels to the mat. Bring your hands in front of you. And as you exhale, send your right arm back for an open arm twist. And just release anything that doesn't serve you. As you inhale, bring your right arm forward. Exhale, forward fold. We'll do this pose on the opposite side. Inhale for mountain pose. Raise your heels. And then as you exhale, lower your heels. Bring your arms in front of you. And as you exhale, send your left arm back. And open your arms out to all the possibilities that life has in store for you. As you inhale, bring your left arm forward. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose. We will add into this pose. Lift your heels off the mat. And as you exhale, lower your heels. Bring your arms in front of you. And now move into a chair pose or Uttanasana. Make sure that you can still see your toes. And engage your abs to protect your low back. As you inhale, bring your arms in front of you. And now, as you exhale, begin to swing your right arm. And on the last swing, leave your arms open for an open arm twist. Inhale and bring your arms into chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. We'll do this on the other side. Inhale, mountain pose. Lift your heels off the mat. And as you exhale, release your heels back to the mat. And bend your knees and send your hips back for chair pose. Bring your hands in front of you and begin to swing your left arm back and forth. And now hold for an open arm twist on the left. Inhale for chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway left. Plant your hands on the mat and begin to walk your hands to the front of the mat for a high plank or Dandasana. Make sure that your hands are right underneath your shoulders. Option to drop your knees to the ground. On the exhale, press into a downward facing dog. We're going to be flowing between the two poses. So as you inhale, move into a high plank. Engage your core to protect your low back. Exhale, downward facing dog. One more time. Inhale and move into a high plank. Exhale and press into downward facing dog. We're going to be moving into a variation of our sun B. So as you inhale, bend your knees and look up. And as you exhale, walk or jump your feet to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale for chair pose. And as you exhale, lean forward, send your arms back for airplane arms. And let's flow with our breath. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, airplane arms. One more time. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant your hands on the mat and step back. And as you exhale, move into downward facing dog. Inhale, bend your knees and look up. Exhale, walk or jump your feet to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to mountain pose. And as you exhale, very gently or carefully step your left foot back and move into Warrior 2 or Virabhadrasana 2. Make sure that you bend your front knee and that your knee stack on top or behind your ankle. Turn your back foot flat to 90-degree angle and open your arms out. And gaze to the middle finger of your front hand. And option 2, straighten and bend your front knee until you find a comfortable stance. On your next inhale, moving to reverse warrior or Viparita Virabhadrasana. Slide your left hand on your leg or bring it into a bind, and as you lift your right arm to the sky, you could either look up at your right hand or your back foot, which might help you breathe more easily. Another cue that is one of my favorites, you can lift your toes off the mat just for a different sensation and to help you engage the arches on your feet. On your next inhale, cartwheel your hands to the mat and step back. And as you exhale, press into downward facing dog. Inhale, bend your knees and look up. Exhale and travel to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale for mountain pose. As you exhale, step your right foot back and move into Warrior 2. Open your arms out like a capital T. And again, feel free to straighten and bend your front knee until you find a comfortable stance. As you inhale, move into reverse warrior. Bring your right hand to a bind or slide it on your back leg as you lift your left arm either to the sky or to the back wall, palms facing down. On your next inhale, cascade your hands to the mat and step back. And as you exhale, press into downward facing dog. Take a big inhale, open mouth, exhale. We're going to repeat the cycle, just one breath per movement. Remember, listen to your body and follow at your own pace. So as you inhale, bend your knees and look up. Exhale and walk or jump your feet to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to chair pose. Exhale, airplane arms. Inhale to chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant your hands on the mat and step back. Exhale and press into downward facing dog. Inhale, bend your knees and look up. Exhale and travel to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to mountain pose. Exhale and step your left foot back as you move into Warrior 2. Inhale, reverse warrior. Release your hands to the mat and step back. And on the exhale, press into downward facing dog. Inhale, bend your knees and look up. Exhale and travel to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to mountain pose. Exhale and step your right foot back and move into warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior. Release your hands to the mat and step back. Exhale and move into downward facing dog. We'll do this one more time. As you inhale, bend your knees and look up. And as you exhale, travel to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose. Exhale and move into warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior. Release your hands to the mat and step back. Exhale and press into downward facing dog. Inhale, bend your knees. Exhale, travel to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to mountain pose. Exhale and step back into warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior. Cascade your hands to the mat and step back. And as you exhale, press into downward facing dog. Take a big inhale through your nose. Open mouth, release. Press into a child's pose or take this opportunity to get a drink of water. We will all meet in downward facing dog. We're moving into the last sequence of this practice. So when you're ready, just press into downward facing dog. Inhale, bend your knees and look up. Exhale, and travel to the front of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to mountain pose. And as you exhale, step your left foot back and move into warrior two. We've been here before, so feel free to bend a little bit deeper just to open your hips a little bit more. And just feel how this pose helps you to be balanced with whatever challenges that come not only in your mat, but in your personal life as well. So as we inhale, we move into reverse triangle. Straighten your front leg. Feel free to shorten your stance. Lift your right arm to the sky as you slide your left hand on your back leg or bring it into a low bind. On your next inhale, move into five-pointed star, Uttita Tadasana, by opening your arms and legs out to the side. And as you exhale, bend your knees to 90-degree angle and move into goddess pose, parakonasana. Bring your hands to heart center. We will be flowing between the two poses. So as you inhale, move into five-pointed star. Exhale and lower into goddess pose. And continue moving at your own pace, inviting any other movement that will help you to open your hips a little more. You have a different arm variation. Remember, just have fun and go with the flow. We'll do a couple more. And on the last one, just hold for goddess pose. Bring your hands into your knees. And as you press into your left hand, just bring your shoulder in for a little twist in this pose. Inhale and come back to center. And as you exhale, press into your right hand and twist towards the right. And now continue alternating at your own pace to help you open your hips a little more. And again, feel free to incorporate any other fun movements that you want into this pose. Your next inhale, come back to center, and now come back to standing. We're gonna repeat the same sequence on the opposite leg. So just pivot your feet towards the left Send your arms to the mat and step back. And as you exhale, press into downward facing dog. So inhale, bend your knees and look up. Exhale and travel to the back of your mat in this case. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale for mountain pose. And now as you exhale, step your right foot back for warrior two. And as you open your arms out, open your body and your mind to any changes that might be beneficial for the new year. As we inhale, we're moving into reverse triangle, so feel free to shorten your stance, straighten your left leg, raise your left arm to the sky, and bring your right hand either to a low bind or slide it on your back leg. It's just all about stretching the side body. And now come back into standing for 5 pointed step. Pivot your feet to the edges of your mat and lift and open your arms out to the sides. As you inhale, move into goddess pose and hold. And for this variation, we'll do something different. So feel free to do the Macarena. You can actually keep your hands into prayer position. Bring your hands into cactus side, or again, invite any other movement that might help you to open your hips more and go with the flow. This is mostly just to distract us of how many minutes we're going to spend in this pose. We'll do a couple more seconds. And then just inhale and come back into 5 pointed step. You can lower your arms. And now step your left foot to meet your right. And lower to your seat. For our next pose, will be our peak pose of the class. So our balancing pose will be a variation on happy babies pose. First of all, come into a boat pose position. So bend your knees and plant the soles of your feet on the mat. Engage your core. Lift your legs. And if it's available to you, you can either grab behind your knees or your feet. And you can either try to straighten your legs or invite some movement. It's about just trying to balance in this pose. And if you fall, it's okay. It's just about having fun. Try something different. Another version that I didn't say actually is if you have a strap. You can also use a strap to help you straighten your legs. And again, it's about, this is your practice, so do what works for you. So release your hands and stay in a boat position. We're just gonna do a little bit more core. So feel free to hold the pose, or again, you can do the Macarena in this pose, just for a couple more minutes. It's all, we're just working our core. Excellent. So on your next inhale, release very gently your legs to the mat. And now roll into your belly for our last pose, which we're going swimming. So as you inhale, just stretch your arms and legs long. And lift your right leg and your left leg and your chest off the mat. And as you exhale, lower. Inhale and now switch the opposite arm and opposite leg. And just let's do a few repetitions on each side. As you probably noticed, we have been engaging our abs during the entire class. Because when we ignite our core, we ignite our passion. In addition, having a strong core can help us become more adaptable and to burn those habits that we no longer need. Let's do one more on each side. And when you're done, just bring your arms right by your side. Place your right cheek on the mat and rest before we move into the unwind portion of this class. There's nothing like doing some core to get your heart up. Our next pose is Sphinx pose or Salamba Bhujangasana. So slide your hands right underneath your shoulders. And as you inhale, press into the hands. Bring your forearms and your hands in front of you, just framing your face. And lift your chest off the mat. This is an amazing pose to release all the tension that we carry in our neck and shoulders. But if by any chance you're feeling any sort of compression on your low back, just walk your hands a few inches forward until you feel a comfortable stretch. Take a big inhale. Sigh it out. Exhale. We have become so used to rely on our calendars that breaking from the routine can seem very scary because it makes us feel like we lost control of our day. Yet, when it's done with intention and self-awareness, breaking from the routine can be a powerful way to stimulate new thinking, break old habits, and adapt better to change. Inhale through your nose, open mouth, exhale. And open your heart to create space for whatever challenge, whatever changes you want to bring into your life. To exit the pose, in your next inhale, begin to walk your hands forward until you can gently lower your chest on the mat and rest your forehead on top of your hands. Bend your knees and very gently windshield wiper your legs from side to side to reset your spine. Inhale and bring your knees back to center. Exhale and lower your legs to the mat. As you inhale, slide your hands right underneath your shoulders. And as you exhale, press into a child's pose. Open your knees as wide as the mat. Send your hips towards your heels as you extend your arms long and rest your forehead on the ground. On your next inhale, come into a tabletop position. Sit your hips to one side. And as you exhale, open your legs wide for our next pose, which will be wide angle seated forward fold or Upavishta Konasana. Again, open your legs to a comfortable level. Since we will be holding this pose for a little bit longer, feel free to use some props to support your chest or your arms or even your head. So first of all, let's take a big inhale and lift our arms up to straighten our spine. And as we exhale very gently, begin to bow forward. Place your hands on the mat and begin to walk them up to a point where you feel a comfortable stretch on your low back and your hamstrings. And once you find that comfortable stance, just surrender into the pose. Big breath in. Open mouth, exhale. We tend to gravitate towards what's familiar. Most of the time, our routines are so ingrained in us that we don't even take time before acting. So the best way to break from those routines is to put ourselves in unfamiliar places or situations. And what a better place to practice something completely different than our yoga mat, which allows us to become comfortable when in unusual situations, so we can transfer what we learn into our everyday life. Take a big inhale, sigh it out, exhale, and embrace the awkwardness in this pose as a way to practice embracing new things in your life. So use your hands to help you exit this pose. We're moving into revolve knee to nose or Parivruta Jano Sirsasana. So for this pose, just bend your left leg and place the sole of your left foot on the inside of your right thigh. As you inhale, lift your arms overhead, and as you exhale, side bends towards the right. We're going to flow through this pose first. Inhale and come back to center. Exhale and side bend towards the right. Sometimes flowing will help us to fall deeper into the pose. Inhale and come back to center. Exhale and side bend towards the right, but this time hold. And either grab a hold of your ankle, your feet, or your calf. Remember, no need to force anything. And it's very important, this is not a forward fold, it's a side bend. So it doesn't really matter how far you come into the pose, as long as you feel a stretch on your side body. And feel free to place your hand on a block or your arm on a block to hold on this pose a little longer. Take a big inhale through your nose. Sigh it out, exhale. In yoga, like in life, sometimes we switch to autopilot, passing through a sequence or a day without even thinking. in order to numb a painful experience. Just like in this pose, it's vital that we tune into our body to avoid injury. In our personal life, it's important to acknowledge and express those emotions so they don't, block our mind from something that might be really important and we need to listen to. Inhale through your nose. Open mouth, exhale. And continue using your breath to listen to your body and to be present during this uncomfortable pose. As you inhale, come out of the pose. So we can repeat the same stretch on the opposite leg. So now straighten your left leg, bend your right knee, and place the sole of your right foot on the inside of your left thigh. And again, remember, we're gonna flow with our breath first. So inhale and lift your arms overhead. Exhale and side bend towards the left. Inhale and come back to center. Exhale and side bend towards the left. And reach a little deeper, that's available to you. Inhale and come back to center. Exhale and side bend towards the left. And this time hold. And grab a hold of your feet, your ankle, your calf. Take a big inhale. Sigh it out. Exhale. Routines help us to become comfortable, and being comfortable all the times can create mental stagnation. Getting out of our comfort zone isn't just about stepping into a new social situation. It's about being physically uncomfortable so then we can adapt to a new situation. Thankfully, yoga gives us plenty of opportunities to practice being uncomfortable with the uncomfortable. Inhale through your nose. Open mouth, release. And with each exhalation, let's give up the control on how we always do things and open our hearts to being uncomfortable, not only in this pose, but also in life. As you inhale, come out of the pose. And now we're moving into parakonasana, or butterfly pose. So bring the soles of your feet together. Again, remember, we're going to be holding this pose for a little longer, so feel free to use blocks to support your head or your forehead. Grab a hold of your feet if that's available to you. And as you inhale, begin to fall forward until you feel a comfortable stretch. Big breath in. Open mouth, exhale. And if it's available to you, fall deeper with each exhalation. As time passes, our routines can get more and more ingrained until they form part of our identity. We sometimes can be so attached to those labels that it can be really difficult to do something outside of them. In yoga, these patterns in which continuously cycle are called samskaras. And thankfully, our yoga practice allows us to become aware when we might be repeating those thought patterns and help us reframe the way we view the world, our relationships, and most important, ourselves. Inhale through your nose. Sigh it out. Exhale. And release any harmful habits that might not be allowing you to become your best self. On your next inhale, use your hands to come out of this pose. With the help of your hands, bring your knees together and plant the soles of your feet on the mat. Place your hands behind your back and very gently just windshield wiper your legs from side to side to help you reset your spine. On your next inhale, bring your knees back to center. Make sure that your knees are hip width apart as we're moving into reverse tabletop or purvottanasana. So your hands are right behind your hips and your fingers are pointing towards you. As you inhale, press into your feet and your hand and lift your hips off the mat. We're only going to stay in this heart opener pose just for a few rounds of breath. So take a big inhale. Open mouth, exhale. Just in yoga, like in life, we have plenty of opportunities to get out of our comfort zone. But all of those will require us to have an open heart. So take one more big inhale to open your heart. And sigh it out, exhale, and very gently release your hips down to the mat. So extend your legs long and very gently and slowly lower to your back as we move into our next pose, which is recline pigeon. So bend your knees and the soles of your feet on the mat. Cross your right ankle on top of your left knee and just notice how this feels. If this is enough, just stay like this. But if you want a little bit deeper stretch, just bend your, just bring your legs towards your chest, making sure that you flex both feet to protect your knees. Take a big inhale through your nose. Sigh it out, exhale. And just release any fears that you may have about embracing change. On your next inhale, release your hands, but leave your legs the way they are. And as you exhale, very gently drop your legs towards the left side of your mat for fallen figure 4. If this doesn't feel comfortable, you can bring your legs together for a supine twist. Feel free to open your arms out and just gaze at your right shoulder to deepen the stretch. As you inhale, bring your knees back to center. And as you exhale, uncross your right leg and place your right foot back on the mat. So we can repeat the same stretch on the opposite leg. So now cross your left ankle and place it on top of your right knee. And again, you have the option to stay like this, or if you want more intensity, just flex your feet and bring your legs towards you. You could either grab behind your knee or on top of your ankle. On your next inhale, release your hands. And as you exhale, very gently drop your legs towards the right for fallen figure 4. Or you have the option to do a supine twist if that feels better for you. As you inhale, bring your knees back to center. Uncross your left leg and place the sole of your left foot back on the mat. And as we're moving into the final resting pose of the practice, I want to invite you to try something different and take Shavasana on your belly. You can also wear really warm socks, which will help you have a very restful Shavasana. So when you're ready, just if you're trying sorrowful pose, just come into your hands and knees and make sure that your head and chest are fully supported by your pillow or by your blanket. But if you're doing traditional Shavasana on your back, that's fine too. And just bring your arms by your sides. So open your legs to the edges of your mat and let your feet fall open to the sides. Arms are by your sides, palms are facing up as a way to symbolize that you're ready to receive the benefits of your practice. Feel free to soften your jaw, close your eyes, let go of your ujjayi breath and come back to your normal breathing. And with each exhalation, take this opportunity as a way to release any lingering tension and to surrender. And I will awaken you when it's time. Start bringing awareness into your body by slowly moving your fingers and toes. Gently circle your wrist and ankles. If you decided to take surface board, just slide your hands right underneath your shoulders and very gently roll to your right side. If you took Shavasana on your back, bend your knees. And again, very gently roll to your right side. You can rest your head on your blanket or on the inside of your right arm. And while you're in this pose, which also symbolizes rebirth, I want to invite you to take a moment of gratitude to your body for everything that your body was able and will be able to do today. To yourself for making the time to come into this practice. to your fellow practitioners for the energy they share, for this community, and for life. With the help of your hands and with eyes closed, come into a comfortable seated position. To close our class, I would like to remind you that there's nothing wrong with having a routine. What we need to be mindful of is when we turn into autopilot and we lose touch not only with ourselves, but with the people around us. After all, we become what we repeatedly do. So since our habits can either make us or break us, we need to be present with our feelings and with those around us so we can radiate our light to the rest of the world. So to close our practice, bring your hands into prayer position and place them on the third eye chakra in between your eyebrows. May we have peace in our thoughts. Now place your hands on top of your left. May we have kindness in our words. And finally, bring your hands to heart center. May we have compassion in our hearts. Thank you for allowing me to guide your practice this morning. Bowing forward from my heart to yours. Namaste.